taking us into a new dimension of time and space, being able to measure that energy and utilize it, and being able to open up a portal, maybe eventually we could step through. The time crystal has an energy that takes over time, and it does not seem to be obeying the normal laws of physics. Let's learn about time crystals.
Time crystals. Yes, they are a real thing. The first macroscopic one was captured on film for the first time earlier this year. The name alone conjures up sci-fi notions. In the cartoon Rick and Morty, the substance is capable of interacting with the flow of time.
You guys, this is crazy. Scientists have created a whole new kind of matter. Yeah, time crystals are here.
Our time crystals, we know they're real, we know they exist, we've actually created them, but what it all means, we're not sure yet.
On Earth are time crystals. The idea was first proposed in 2012 by Nobel laureate Frank Wilczek of MIT. He suggested a type of matter that exhibits a sort of fundamental oscillation over time. So some property of the material goes through a repeating cycle.
We do live in a four-dimensional space-time reality. If crystals can form across the three spatial dimensions, what's to stop them from forming across the time dimension?
These time crystals have properties we have never before seen in other matter. Usually, matter is motionless at its resting state and only has potential energy until kinetic energy is introduced to it. The time crystals actually move at their resting state or ground state, and that's when atoms have the lowest amount of energy.
But how does that make it a time crystal? The analogy is that regular crystals have a periodic cycle through space. Molecular patterns repeat again and again along their lattices. Time crystals repeat some internal state with constant separations in time.
They are the first non-equilibrium matter ever created.
These time crystals have a special quality through time. They have a repeating effect through time.
Regular crystals are an arrangement of atoms in repeated three-dimensional patterns called a lattice. The patterns are duplicated through space, whereas time crystals duplicate their patterns through space and time. They are essentially four-dimensional crystals.
A very interesting new development, but this does tell us that the fabric of time and space has a flexibility, and perhaps we can use this to communicate past and future.
In theory, the time crystals could move without the application of energy because they would be designed to be inherently unstable, breaking the symmetry of time, resulting in atoms that are in perpetual motion.
Scientists are using the term discrete time crystals to describe such systems. Time crystals could have their first application in quantum computing. Perhaps
once the theory of time crystals was out there in the ether, researchers focused on coming up with methods to create this new matter that could break time symmetry.
time crystals could also help bridge the gap between quantum mechanics and general relativity. Before this year, time stood out as a major symmetry that hadn't been broken.
This is like jiggling jello and have it move when you weren't poking it. Researchers had essentially broke the time symmetry and created a new form of non-equilibrium matter that continued moving even at the ground state.
This seems awfully similar to a perpetual motion machine, something science is pretty sure can't exist here on Earth. It also breaks physical notions of time symmetry and threatens the notion of conservation of energy.
And, unlike in relativity, quantum mechanics treats space and time very differently to each other. Now that we've seen matter settle into discrete lattices in time, just like in regular crystals, perhaps it's a first step in a quantum union of space-time.
But maybe this is a start of the quantum revolution, harnessing the amazing and spooky effects of the quantum world for use in our day-to-day existence. Things like quantum computing, free energy, and yes, even time travel.
Researchers have also remarked that their creation of time crystals is evidence that time symmetry can be broken and that non-equilibrium matter can exist.
So these time crystals, which have broken the fisthold that time, past, present, future, has had, offer us a place that might be able to allow us to affect retrocausality better.
There may be forces at play which we could harness for energy use. This may be the way we tap into the vacuum energy which exists all around us, allowing us to get more energy out of the system than we put in.
The piezoelectric effect is very interesting because it can tell us that if we apply pressure to certain crystals, we can generate an electric current. Also, if there's a current that's applied, it can generate the pressure. So thereby, we have the piezoelectric effect. This is part of the principle of the quartz clock. Now, by utilizing this with time crystals, could we not generate a time crystal that would be able to, through time, affect things and allow for the development of retrocausality? So after years of trials, we now have developed a time crystal scalar field pendant, using a host of different energies to help make premonitions possible, to communicate through time into the future with premonitions, and also to maybe through retrocausality affect the past. So I welcome you to our new pendant, the Time Portal Pendant.